Morning everybody, and welcome to another pretty quick morning tarot. I got up half an hour earlier this morning than I did yesterday, thinking right, I'll give me more time to do the tarot so I'm not rushing. And you know how it is when you get up in the morning and you're intending to do things really quickly, you just find more stuff to do, and suddenly that extra half an hour is gone. It's kind of like that. So I haven't even had a chance to stop and think or prepare what I'm going to say. I'm determined I really want to do it because I really want to keep this going. And before I start as well, my voice is going, I haven't spoken yet this morning, apart from to my cat, is thank you very much to Gypsy Chick and two of your gorgeous daughters for doing a video response to my swords. I think it was part 4 video. It's the first thing I saw this morning and it just made me so happy. And it was a really, really cool video response, and I learned something new as well about the cards. So thank you so much. That's made my day. And I will crack on now with the next one. So yesterday I did 2, 3, 4 of cups. Oh, it's kind of big on screen today. Oh, you know, I've left that. Let me just take autofocus off. I might be slightly blurry, but it's focusing on the cards, so that's probably better. Okay, so 5 of Cups. Now, the 5 of Cups card, when you look at it, first of all, it is kind of a bit of a sort of image. You know, you've got the man here. He's standing. You can see very clearly now, because it's focused on the card, that he's red-faced. He's wearing his big black cloak. He's staring at these 3 cups that are all spilt, and he's completely ignoring the cups that are behind him. So what we're looking at here is looking at somebody who's wearing, it makes... It always makes things kind of like the black cloak of depression, but it's a very dramatic looking cloak of depression, this red face. It suggests to me usually that somebody is feeling quite embarrassed about something, something hasn't worked out, something's gone wrong, and they're kind of feeling embarrassed or humiliated and kind of grumpy and cross. And the little kind of line I think of for this card is, there's no use crying over spilt milk. And this person is very much crying over spilt milk. He's looking at his spilt cups. He's focusing on that. And it's like somebody's focusing only on the negative things that have happened, or the negative aspects of the situation. And because he's wearing this kind of big, dramatic kind of black cloak that's totally covering everything and hunched away from the camera, well, yeah, the camera, I guess, in this situation, it's like someone who's really wallowing in it. It's quite a dramatic, it's not like a genuine depression or a genuine deep sorrow or sadness. It's a reactive thing. It's somebody who's reacting very much in that sort of way, and they're determined to be negative, and they're determined to look at the bad stuff, and they're berating themselves, and they're feeling down, and they just want to focus on everything that went wrong and say, see, this didn't happen and this went wrong and I did this wrong and it's not fair and I'm feeling bad about it, and I'm just going to go into my shell and hide and just sit and feel bad and feel cross, and kind of, that's it, I'm not playing anymore. What this person is doing, and I know we've all done this, I know I have certainly been in that situation where I've just been like, that's it, I've had enough, I'm fed up, everything's going wrong, this has gone wrong, and then this. I feel like, because there's three cups here with different kind of colours, where I'm pointing, spilt from them. It's a bit like that situation where something goes wrong, and then it's like you're focusing on that, and then something else goes wrong, and you're like, oh, and then something else goes wrong, like, that's it, everything goes wrong, nothing works for me, everything I do, everything is going wrong. And it's not, but it's just because you're focusing on that negative, and you're focusing on things that go wrong, you feel like everything is going wrong. I'm an unlucky person and stuff, and it's not true. You're just determined to focus on that, and usually when that's happening, there's other things, positive things, things that haven't gone wrong, things that are going well, you know, lucky cups standing there at the same time, but you're just refusing to see it because you want to focus on the negative. You want to cry over your spilt milk, and that's just how it is. So in this situation, you really need to shake it off. I mean, like the colour in the background, it's just this kind of big blank sort of grey colour, and here we've got water, a little bit of emotion, and I think kind of importantly a bridge. You know, there's a bridge, and bridges show opportunity, and bridges show an opportunity for progression, opportunity for movement, and sometimes things have to go wrong or not work out so that we can point ourselves in the right direction. I think actually Teal Scott, who I often talk about, has this really amazing kind of metaphor talking about the internal compass, like your emotions, your internal compass. When something feels bad or something is going wrong, it's showing you, pointing in the direction of where you don't want to go, and the things that aren't going to serve you and aren't going to be good for you. So when things go wrong and you feel bad about it, use that as an opportunity to see what you don't want so that you can turn and find out what you do want. And there's plenty of good in this situation. Whenever you see this card, you know, this person's just sort of forcing themselves to stay like that, and they're kind of indulging in that feeling, and it's really usually not half as serious as they think it is. So they really need to be encouraged to kind of throw off the cloak, get over the embarrassment. Yes, we all get embarrassed sometimes when things don't work out, but so what? You know, we all do embarrassing things, or we all feel like a failure sometimes, but it's just in our heads. You know, this is not the rest of the world. It doesn't matter. What matters in a situation is not what we've done wrong and not what hasn't worked out. What really matters is how we choose to deal with it, and how we choose to process those emotions, and how we decide to react to situations. So I would say stop crying over spilt milk, stop looking at the negative, stop looking at things that have gone wrong, and start to think about the things that are still there, because it's like clearing out, you know, get rid of things that don't serve you, and it just really brings your focus on things that do. I want to say lighten up, you know, lighten up a little bit and look at the positives. 6 of Cups. A bit of blue tack. There we go. I think this is a really pretty card. It's a very pretty card, and it has this really lovely sort of feeling about it. Looking at the actual image on the card here, we've got like decaying buildings. It always makes like an old farmstead or a home where someone might have grown up that's sort of decaying a bit, and it's old but it's still standing and it's still there. There's people in the background. There's this kind of feeling of community or family, just sort of aging. I think the cups are absolutely gorgeous. All the cups here are full of flowers. Kind of the white flower, it's like a lily. It's a flower of kind of purity and of pure emotion, and of kind of coming through difficulties. And I think that really tellingly here, we've got this figure who's got something quite childlike about them, almost like a childlike figure, but very large. And then this figure, who is very small, but it's a little old lady looking up at the child. And the child is smelling the flowers, and for me, the scent of flowers is something that I have, that I actually experience around me sometimes when I'm thinking about people that have passed on in my life and passed away, like my grandmother or my mother. And sometimes I will just be kind of have this strong, overpowering scent of vanilla and caramel and flowers. So I connect the scent of flowers with kind of remembering people and growing up and that sort of experience. And this card for me is very much a card about growing up, like going from that feeling of being a child, of being in a home, being in a family and having that role, and then going through that process of becoming an adult. And as we go through that process of growing and that process of becoming an adult, it's wonderful and it's exciting and it's painful and it's amazing. And at the same time as going through those fantastic changes, there's also that kind of almost like bittersweet sadness inside, that feeling of having to grow up. You know, you have to put away your toys finally, and you have to sort of let go a little bit of the things that were a big part of your life as a child, and make that transition into being an adult and maturity. And it's this kind of real bittersweet kind of energy. I think this card brings a lot of energy of sort of looking back, and nostalgia is the word I'm looking for. This is a card of nostalgia. You know, it's the child becoming bigger, growing up, and almost like, you know, they always say the child exceeds the parent, and you know, every parent wants their child to go on and to do better than them, to do more, to have more, to be more, to lift them up and be higher. And so it can be a wonderful, amazing experience for everybody, but for the child there's that pain of like having to grow up and no longer being a child and wanting to be a child and keep all those things and wanting to take wing and explore and be an adult. And for the adults, it's that kind of feeling of incredible pride and wanting to see like your children grow, but at the same time the kind of pain of having to let them go. So I think we're looking at almost like a transition where we've got the younger child is bigger and the older person is smaller, and looking up, and this connection, this kind of shared remembrance and the shared nostalgia, and this kind of, it's very hard for me to explain this card. It's that feeling of growing up, wanting to be a child but wanting to be an adult, and going through that process and this bittersweet feeling. And this doesn't have to necessarily be talking obviously about literally a child growing up, that can do. This happens in all areas of our lives, when we outgrow something, and we have to move on. When we outgrow a situation and we go beyond something, and it's sort of hard to let go but exciting to move at the same time. I hope you know what I'm talking about. I always find it hard to vocalise this card actually, even though it actually has quite a strong meaning for me. And finally, what are we doing? Ooh, 11 minutes. Looking at the time as well for work. We'll do one more. The Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is a really interesting card. We've got this person who almost looks like a conjurer, like a figure. Like he's conjuring up all these images in the background, and he's sort of blacked out because the focus is not on him or her. It's not on their actual life and existence and what's going on in their life right now. That's almost like kind of a 2D image, because all of the stuff that's going on this card is this stuff of idea, of thought, of possibility. It's up in the clouds. Everything is up in the air. We've got somebody who's like conjuring and standing and looking at all these cups. And cups are usually very lucky, or they're opportunities, or they're kind of things that you can bring into your life. And this person is standing and he's looking, and it's almost like he's trying to conjure up an image, conjure up something for the future, look for a direction to go. This card often makes me think about the idea of making a choice. You know, you're at a place where you need to choose something, and you can still choose many things. Where do you want to go? What do you want to work towards? What do you want to have next in your life? Right now you're surrounded with possibility, and you can manifest, and you can bring any of these things into your life, and you have to choose which one or ones to go for. And they're all kind of, you know, some of them are double-edged sword. Just a few examples, you know, you can go for gems and jewels. Do you want wealth? Do you want riches? Do you want money? Do you want financial security? Are you looking for knowledge, for wisdom, for kind of spiritual thought? Do you want to pursue kind of success and victory? That's the victory laurel, and power and respect from other people. Do you want property? Do you want kind of to rise up in an institution, like a company, or something corporate, or sort of to build a material security? There's I'm having a blank now on what the snake could mean. The snake represents it can actually represent wisdom and knowledge in the same way, and it kind of represents mystery. Yeah, that's right. The snake is like a fire symbol, and it represents kind of mystery and the esoteric, and it can represent the occult. You've got kind of like the image here of the dragon. You know, do you want to chase the dragon? Are you looking for that kind of sort of power and authority over people? Or this figure here, that's almost like a person standing with their head covered. And I often think of this one particularly as being like the mystery card. Or is there something else that you want? You know, something almost covered that you can't quite see yet. What of these things are you looking for? What do you want to pursue? And also there's an element of you have to choose one to pursue, because if you leave everything as kind of pie in the sky and just enjoy the idea that you've got all these possibilities, eventually they will disappear. So you do have to decide what you want to focus on, what you want, and how you want a situation to play out, and which parts of things you're going to pursue, because you can't pursue everything all at once. So you have to choose one or two for now and go with those. And also be aware that when you make the choice, make the right choice for yourself, and think about your motives for doing something. Because not all of these cards are kind of wonderful altruistic cards. Cups, some of them, you know, can be, as I said, a double-edged sword. I've heard this card called the Poison Chalice before, because it makes me think, you know what it makes me think of? Anyone who's seen Indiana Jones, is it the third one, where they go looking for the Grail? And there's a scene in that movie where the Knight Templar who's guarding the Grail is standing in a room filled with many cups. They're all different, ornate, completely beautiful looking cups, and he says, choose the cup that you think is the cup of Christ. And I think there are several characters that go in there and they think, well, you know, it will be this cup, and they choose this jewel cup, or this amazing cup, or this cup, and they drink from it. And if they chose the wrong cup, then it's poisoned. And eventually the character goes and they choose the plainest cup, you know, one that's not made of gold, and they drink from that cup, and that is the true cup. And this makes me think of this, you know, be careful, all that glitters isn't gold. So don't just go for the cup that looks the most beautiful. Don't just go for the obvious thing, or the thing you think that you should go for. Think carefully about which cup you choose and what you choose to pursue, and think about, you know, the potential consequences as well of how you're going to do that before you make your decision. Here we go. Okay, as usual, anybody wants to do a video response and talk about what your cards say, because all the different decks have slightly different pictures, different feelings, or even just your interpretation of the Rider-Waite cards here, because everyone has a different feeling, a different story that they attach to a card, a different idea, and I really do think that your personal interpretation is the one that counts, because you will be the one who's reading your interpretation and kind of interpreting that intuitive message, and it's really great to hear them. I will put this with my other videos in the tarot morning tarot series in the playlist on my main page if you want to watch any of the previous ones, and I gotta run because I gotta get to work. So have a lovely day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.